Views and opinions presented by the host, guests, or callers on this program do not necessarily represent the positions of WMBS Radio.
And it is time for What's on Your Mind on this Wednesday. We're brought to you by Tireman's Auto Garage, K2 Engineering, Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty, Chestnut Ridge Counseling, Hicks and Boss Drug Store, Red Rooster Dumpster and Hauling, Gary's Auto Sales, and Bright Stripe Seal Coating and Line Striping. The phone number on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital talk line is 724-438-4593. And we have Doug Saltzman in today for Russ Rhodes. Doug, how you doing today?
Good, TJ. Thanks a lot. Doing the show first hour remotely today, so I thank TJ. I owe you. You have all that stuff you have to do behind the scenes. I don't know how to do those things, so I don't know how I'm going to
I'll send you the bill. I'll send you the bill.
That's right. No, I appreciate you doing it. So we're now 1 week away from Christmas, although I think if you were to talk to most Pittsburghers right now, they would wonder how the Steelers managed to win that game and why the Penguins can't seem to win a game lately. Penguins had one of the best records at the beginning of the season. Now they're way under 500. 6-game losing streak. I wonder when their last 6-game losing streak was, TJ. That's been a long time.
Yeah, they really did start off hot, but they're struggling, and they'll be back in action tomorrow night, so maybe they can get a win there.
Yeah, a couple of goofy games, too, to have a 3, 4, 5 goal leads in the third and then lose in overtime. They can't seem to win in overtime, whether it's overtime or the shootout. What was it last week? They gave up a goal with less than a second left.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, they're not good in overtime shootout third period either. They just need to, if they can just play 2 periods of hockey, then they'll be okay.
They've been talking about, I think you're right. Yeah, they've been talking about age issues. I guess after a while you get tired if you're playing hockey.
Yeah.
I've played ice hockey over the years, just between friends, and let me tell you, it's tiring, and I don't know what it is with the Pens. It's a shame to see that. And got rid of Jari, who actually was having a better year than he had been having. So I guess he's going to go up against the Penguins tomorrow night, right? We're playing the team we traded him to.
No, that was last night.
Oh, that was last night.
Yeah,
oh, you're right.
That was last night. No, they play Ottawa tomorrow night.
Okay, forgive me for that one. Yeah, I don't quite know what's happening. That's a shame. We don't want to go a third year in a row not making the playoffs. Keep thinking at some point Sidney's going to say, I had a good run. I think we can get a few more years out of him, but if he doesn't make the playoffs for a third year in a row, he might just say, enough's enough. And he's a good guy, and no one could fault him, I suppose. But craziness. This story, completely changing topics here. This story out of Hollywood, the killing of Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. It just, I mean, you see something like that, and you don't think someone with incredible celebrity and wealth would have a son at one point who was actually homeless. His parents said, you either go into rehab or we're putting you out of the house, kind of a tough love type situation. But then they always say knife killings, they being documentaries I've watched, that sort of thing. Knife killings are always the most personal. And you can't imagine what that family's going through. Their daughter is the one that found them. It's just a horrendous situation. So we hope coming up in the next moment or two to talk with Thane Rosenbaum to get an update from him on that as well. And then as we continue, if you listen to the Afternoon Drive show, I've been doing throughout December our year in review interviews. We've interviewed a couple of the commissioners. We've talked about TV. Today we're going to talk pop culture. We're going to talk Penguin hockey. But we're also going to talk what's going on in Harrisburg legislatively. We've talked politics a lot, but we're going to talk legislatively.
Mr. Saltzman.
Yes, sir.
I have your guest for you here.
Joining us right now on the WVU Hospital talk line, CBS News legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum. Thane, you're joining us on very short notice. I appreciate that. Wanted to check in with you. This horrific situation of the murder of both Rob and Reiner. We almost get numb to these things sometimes, but this one is particularly bizarre, is it not?
Yeah, it is, and yet the backstory to it has a kind of TV movie of the week feel for it. You know, he co-wrote a movie about a young man in his exact position who had addiction and had difficulties with his parents, and his father ended up directing that movie, and then the movie of his life continued, resulting in the murder of his parents. Now, again, he's presumed innocent until found guilty. His siblings wrote a note that said, "We are all in shock, but we're asking everyone to be respectful of our time and also not to jump to conclusions." So it's not like his siblings jumped all over this and said, "And our brother did this." They said, "Let's not jump to conclusions." So it makes one think that when Reiner's lawyer today in court said, "We need more time, even for the arraignment, because this is a very complicated case with lots of complex issues, and we need to slow this down," that maybe he gave the judge a reason not to have Reiner arraigned today. He was supposed to have been arraigned, and remember, Doug, an arraignment is when the charges are read to you. At that point, you plead guilty or not guilty, and there's a discussion of bail or no bail. And that didn't happen today. So even though there was a medical reason for Tuesday's adjournment, today there's a complexity reason that the lawyer somehow convinced the judge that we're not ready to arraign my client yet. Maybe he has some kind of exculpatory evidence that he wants the police to look at, but it is a bizarre case, but, you know, it's Hollywood, and it's going to be treated like, you know, the O.J. trial. It's going to be given that kind of attention.
And I was surprised, too. Well, going back to the point you made, the arraignments are always very quick, and now this one's being postponed until January. At least that's the last report I saw. I was surprised too when the district attorney was discussing this case in his news conference just yesterday, that he said the death penalty is on the table. I did not realize California had the death penalty. I thought that state did not have it. Obviously, I was wrong on that.
Well, right. Not having it and not using it are two different things. So, you know, California is an unusual state, and Los Angeles, you would think this would never come up, right? You know, and makes you think, well, if anywhere, Los Angeles and San Francisco, in those areas, no district attorney would be using the words the death penalty. But yes, states have it, although, and the federal government has it, but it's not always enforced. That's why it's called death row, because there's a queue, and they don't always, you know, follow through on it. But I'm not surprised. You know, I hate to be cynical about this. You know, prosecutors make their careers on oftentimes overcharging and overpromising, you know, and in this case, this is a crime that will be considered personal to the people of L.A., right? They're going to say, well, we know the Reiners for, you know, we knew his grandfather. We knew the Dick Van Dyke Show. This is a royal Los Angeles family. And so, you know, we're not going to take anything off the table. We're going to put everything on the table because this isn't just any murder. This is the murder of an icon.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, too, about the idea of this would fall under the category of made-for-TV movie, even to the point where an argument broke out at a party hosted by, of all people, Conan O'Brien the other day, apparently. And then people noticed that this argument was happening between Rob Reiner and his son, Nick, at that party. So now suddenly, are we going to have A-list celebrities as witnesses at this trial testifying to what they saw earlier in the evening? Could that be a possibility, especially from the defense standpoint, about the peace of mind of Nick Reiner?
Yeah, you mean the state of mind? Yeah, no, you're right.
I say peace of mind, state of mind. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but you're right. I mean, look, when his lawyer, the defense attorney today said this is a very complicated case. Lawyers like to use that word to say, oh, this requires a lot more time and a lot more thought. But you know, he's being charged with multiple murders with special circumstances. You know, is the issue? Did he show up to his parents' house ready to kill them? Was it that deliberate? Right? Because that's how you get the death penalty. You show up for that purpose. Did he show up to yell at them because they didn't defend him at the party? I think Rob Reiner was critical of his son at the party. He was, embarrassed, and something happened, and everyone took note of it, and the Reiners were embarrassed by it, and who knows what Rob Reiner said to his son. And so, did that set him off? Did he show up to just have an argument with his parents and things got out of control? Remember, this is a family that, with respect to their youngest son, has had difficulties from childhood, apparently. So, there's a tremendous backstory, and I think that's what the lawyer is going to be saying. He's going to be delivering the kind of case that says we should have much more sympathy for Nick than it seems. Yes, he may have been responsible, but he wasn't responsible in the way of a cold-blooded murderer. And maybe that's what his siblings were saying, too, when they were saying, let's withhold judgment. We don't know what to think about our brother at this moment.
And here in Pennsylvania, we're not used to trials being on TV. Cameras are not permitted in courtrooms in Pennsylvania. They are, however, in California, no bigger, as you mentioned earlier, than the O.J. Simpson trial. This is going to be one of these trials where you're going to have a mob scene of cameras outside the courtroom covering it, I suppose. Is that your analysis of the situation so far?
Yeah, and everything is complicated by the tweet or the social media posting of President Trump, right? Because you can say, well, what does that have to do with it? Well, remember, Luigi Mangione has a crowd of well-wishers here in New York. He's become, defendants now are rock stars. We always give the benefit of that, a reason for why they did what they did. Of course he should shoot the executive for a major healthcare company, right? You're saying, what? Yes, I'm going to contribute to his legal fees because I think what he did is right. We're living in a very nihilistic time, and there is, Hamas raped girls and torched babies, and people cheered them on, right? It is a morally twisted time. So this, to me, has, if you think about defense strategies, you think to yourself, God, I wonder how much of that will play out here, that maybe there's a way to show Nick in a much more sympathetic light. Maybe he's going to say, it wasn't me. Again, we don't know if there was any DNA evidence, but it's his parents' house. He was there, right? His lawyers are going to go, of course you found DNA of Nick's, because he's his parents' house. He's there all the time. So who knows what defense strategy is going to be raised, but clearly I don't think his lawyer is thinking about a plea bargain. I don't. It doesn't sound like it. And I'm not sure that he's thinking about an insanity defense. So then what else is there? But we'll soon find out because we don't have the arraignment yet.
That was the next question I was going to ask. It's always stated that insanity defenses or mentally unfit to stand trial defenses are very, very hard to prove. Could drug use tie into that? I mean, does that make one mentally unfit for a trial if he had been high when this happened, or a history of drug use?
It doesn't change the crime. It changes the mitigation, right? So it goes back to the idea of if this is first degree premeditated murder, that is usually undermined if you've been on drug use, right? Because were you able to premeditate? If you were high, that doesn't mean you don't get punished. That doesn't mean that you don't still get punished to the highest degree. But that's the argument, to say he did not have the mens rea, the state of mind, the intent, the specific intent to commit this kind of a crime. So there's any number of different defenses or excuses that will be introduced. We are now delayed because the lawyers convinced the judge that we're not even ready for arraignment yet, which again, when something like that happens, you think, is it because of mental competency? Is it because of the gathering of evidence? Is there exculpatory evidence out there that is not yet been detected by the detectives? And his lawyer, defense attorney, is going, hey, relax. Don't charge him yet because there's something else that you need to know. There's some more investigation that should take place. But again, if you're the district attorney of Los Angeles, your strategy is probably in a high-profile case like this, You don't want to see this case go away on an insanity plea, and you don't want to see this case go away on a plea bargain. You want, as you said, you want TV time. I know that sounds horrible, but we saw what happened in the O.J. trial, where only years later did people like me say that trial could have been cut by 2/3 in terms of the time. It was totally drawn. It was drawn out, and something like that might happen here.
Yeah, last question for you real quick. And when I was working for the Pennsylvania State Senate, not the U.S. Senate, I drafted legislation that eventually became law that my boss introduced that called for a plea of guilty but mentally ill. Does California have such a law? You may not know that. That's a pretty detailed issue.
I don't know. I really don't know. But that idea comes from, the principle that, we don't let a sanity plea represent an excuse, a justification. So clearly you and your, state senator at the time came up with this idea, which, some states have, which is to say, we're prepared to acknowledge that you are not mentally competent like everyone else, but we are not prepared to say that you're not guilty for that reason, by reason of insanity. We're not willing to do that. We're going to simply acknowledge something, and maybe that'll have an effect on the sentence, right? So that would knock out the death penalty. That might knock out a 40-year sentence. But we will not allow it to serve as a justification or an excuse.
All right. We've been talking, of course, with Thane Rosenbaum, CBS News legal analyst. Thane, you've given us an extra long interview. Thank you very much. You've joined us many times throughout you've joined us many times throughout 2025, and we appreciate your analysis as always on very difficult issues. Thanks so much. You have a great holiday. Happy New Year to you.
You too, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to take a break right now. Too late to do the news at the bottom of the hour, but when we come back, we're going to check in with Elizabeth Stell. We're going to talk legislation from a state standpoint, a year in review. But first, you're listening to What's on Your Mind on the local station, WMBS Uniontown. We'll be right back.
The Stephen R. Hockey Funeral Home at Sylvan Heights and their entire staff wish you a holiday season filled with joy, shared with family and friends, and extend their warmest wishes for a happy, healthy, and safe new year.
Jingle bells, Quattrini Law Group here. If you're injured at work or wreck your sleigh over the holidays, call our Uniontown office 24/7, 724-439-8300. Quattrini Law Group.
Take the fact book.
Caring for an aging parent or a loved one with medical needs? FACT, Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation, can help. Seniors 65 and older ride free on our fixed routes. People with disabilities get discounted shared rides. And if your loved one has medical assistance, their trips to doctors or treatment are covered under the shared ride program. Give them safe, reliable independence and yourself peace of mind. Call 724-628-RIDE or visit factbus.com. FACT, your community, your connection.
Route 21 Furniture. Take the road to your perfect home.
Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture. Take the road to your perfect home.
Well, much cooler temperatures are here, but you could still enjoy your deck or patio with retractable or fixed awnings from Lifetime Awnings. Made in the USA with manufacturer and customer guarantees, Lifetime Awnings products last. Lifetime Awnings is veteran-owned and operated with a 10% discount to all military veterans and their families. Call Lifetime Awnings, 724-554-6067 for a no-cost or obligation home consultation. Or email John, the owner, at lifetimeawningsusa@gmail.com.
Your mental health is your most valuable asset. With 55 years of experience serving Western Pennsylvania, Chestnut Ridge Counseling Services is ready and able to assist you with all of your mental health needs. Offering over 20 specialized treatments, open access, and just-in-time scheduling means that you receive the treatment you need in a time-conscious fashion. Chestnut Ridge Counseling now offers telehealth, mental health urgent care with immediate access to a mental health professional with no appointment necessary. Call 724-437-0729. That's 724-437-0729 for mental health Urgicare at Chestnut Ridge Counseling. Outpatient care options include individual, group, and family therapies, mental health and psychiatric evaluations, and medication services. Outpatient care and services are also available for patients under the age of 18, geared towards youth-centric problems and concerns. Take control of your mental health care with Chestnut Ridge Counseling Services. Call 724-437-0729 to set up an appointment or speak immediately with a mental health professional.
Are you looking to list or sell your house? Now is the time to let the professionals at Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty help you with all of your real estate needs. Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty has two convenient locations to better serve you. In Uniontown area, 724-437-7100, or in Connellsville area, 724-628-7200, and speak with one of our real estate professionals. Visit our website, caldwellbanker.com. We have been proudly serving Western Pennsylvania area for over 30 years and look forward to helping you with all of your real estate needs. Broker Paul Borge Jr.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest, now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
WMBS.
All right, we're back here on What's on Your Mind. Doug Saltzman filling in for Russ today. And Doug, you have a guest coming up here.
And I appreciate your starting off with that song, one of my favorite songs, Layla by Derek and the Dominoes, of course, Eric Clapton. Boy, what a difference a couple of days makes. We're looking at, 48 degrees right now outside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. A few days ago, man, we were in the deep freeze. Most of that snow we had is not completely melted away, but getting close. But it's going to get cold again, hopefully just in time for Christmas. As we're now 1 week away, get out there and get the shopping done, folks. I've already started wrapping. It's rare for me to be that far ahead of time, but I started that process just last night. I want to thank Thane Rosenbaum for joining us a few moments ago from CBS News discussing the murder case of Carl and Michelle Reiner. But joining us right now on the WVU Hospital Talk Line, Vice President of Policy with the Commonwealth Foundation, Elizabeth Still. Elizabeth, thank you very much for joining us. Happy holidays to you. How are you?
I'm doing well, and season's greetings to you as well, Doug.
Yeah, we appreciate you taking time to join us. Throughout December of every year, I always do a year in review discussion, but there are obviously still timely issues going on, and just recently the Commonwealth Foundation talked about the issues related to Penny, or the Pennsylvania Insurance Marketplace Plan. The deadline was just a couple days ago on Monday, but now it's been extended to the end of the year. But at the same time, it also shows, as the Commonwealth Foundation has indicated, some of the shortcomings of the program. I'll let you jump in from there.
Yeah, so the Penny is an exchange place to buy health insurance if you don't get it through your employer. And we're seeing some pretty brutal premium increases this year. And part of that is just what's going on across the entire economy. Whether you're an employer plan or on Penny, you're going to see an increase in your premiums. But part of that is also due to the expiration of some additional COVID subsidies that were extended for a couple of more years. So folks are in for a bit of a rude awakening, and we've talked about this as a need or a call to really reform healthcare insurance overall. The one thing we can say about the Affordable Care Act 15 years later is it's anything but. But there are a lot of things that states and the federal government can do to drive down the costs and make it affordable again.
Yeah, as we've discussed before, of course, the budget stalemate in Washington, which was a little over a month, much shorter, obviously, than what happened at the state level, but still, even was reported at the top of the hour by CBS. That issue has not been resolved as to what, if any, subsidies are going to continue at the federal level for the Affordable Care Act, the ACA, correct?
Right, right. It looks like for now the extra enhanced subsidies are going away, but the advanced premium tax credits that people received in Penny before the COVID subsidies, those will continue. So you will still see some plans that are heavily subsidized by the taxpayer, but that extra level of subsidy is going away. And this is going to hit mostly people who are making over 400% of the federal poverty level, and it will also see a bigger impact on people who are at the lower level in terms of income. But they're in good company. This isn't something that's just happening in the exchanges. Premiums are increasing across the board. And a lot of this is because our health insurance system really benefits insurers and providers and minimizes the role of patient choice.
Yeah, the ongoing issue, and it's been around for decades, is defensive medicine, of course, the need for doctors to be overly careful at times with a diagnosis concerning there might be a lawsuit afterwards. That certainly plays into it as well. Let's move on, if we could, to our end of the year in review discussion. No doubt the biggest issue in state government this year was the delayed budget, not just a few days or weeks, but literally months. It took, oddly enough, both the federal and state budgets were passed on the same day, just by coincidence. But that delay, state government workers were being paid, but payments out to municipalities, counties, and other agencies that provide services, those were delayed by many, many months, were they not?
Yeah. So you saw some county governments, some social service agencies, and some schools taking out loans to bridge the gap there between during the state budget impasse. And the interest on those loans, if they took advantage of the program that was offered by the Treasurer's Office, was forgiven. But it still has an impact in delayed services, and that's serious. I mean, we shouldn't overlook that. And that's something that, I think lawmakers need to realize, that they cause a lot of pain and suffering when the budget goes long like this. But the end product, despite all of that, still spends way too much money and really sets Pennsylvania's up for a tax hike in 2026.
Yeah, we've interviewed over the last week two of the Fayette County commissioners. Fayette County, of course, is where our radio station's located, and they talked about the amount of time and energy to put in just to keep government running, whether they had to take out loans and what sort of statements or what sort of issues they had to handle because they weren't getting that funding, and they had to continue. They're mandated by law to provide services, certainly human services and other issues for people in the special needs sector. But at the same time, they need to work on economic development and other issues like that. I would think a state budget stalemate would have to have an impact on those efforts as they're trying simply to keep the government running along, the county governments, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it has more of an impact on the human services, as you alluded to, than any broader economic development authorities, because a lot of those programs, the money is allocated at, hopefully June 30th or early July, and then it's sold out throughout the year. So a lot of times those things are sort of running on autopilot, on a rolling basis throughout the year. They're not as sensitive to the deadlines, whereas if you're, a mental health service agency and you don't get your state allotment for 2, 3, 4 months, you're going to run into some major cash flow programs. So because of the difference of how those types of programs are funded, the stalemates really impact the social service side a lot more than they do the economic development programs.
Yeah, another issue that came up after the governor's budget presentation back in February, which to this day I think is the longest budget presentation I ever sat through, hour and a half I think it lasted. At that point, his plan, Governor Shapiro's plan, his administration, was to use rainy day funds as part of the general budget process, and that's not permitted by law, correct?
Correct. Yeah, he wanted to basically change the law because right now the law says that rainy day funds, this is an emergency fund that the state has, saved up for just that, emergencies. The law says these funds can only be used when there's an emergency or a downturn in the economy that isn't anticipated, You can't use it to begin new programs, and it requires a 2/3 vote of the members in order to tap it. So it's a high bar, and what the governor essentially wants to do is change the law and allow lawmakers and the governor to pull from that fund, basically for whatever program needs they had, and that's just not wise budgeting. And it would also impact our bond ratings and other things like that, would drive up costs in Pennsylvania. So it's just a recipe for disaster, because the problem in Pennsylvania is not that we don't spend enough, it's that we spend too much. And we're spending more than the revenue we're taking in every year. So we really need to focus on getting our spending in order. Tapping the rainy day fund does not address that.
Yeah, and even during the pandemic, what bigger emergency have we had in decades than the pandemic? The rainy day fund was not used during that, correct?
Right, we had depleted it, and then we had not put anything into the rainy day fund, so it wasn't available. And so that's why it's important that we protect this, because we don't know when the next COVID is going to come. And, like those counties you just talked about, those folks need resources to run their programs. Economic downturns is when people need help the most. So it's really important that we maintain that a healthy rainy day fund balance while we're in normal, quote-unquote, normal economic times, and get serious about tackling the spending. I mean, I'll give you an example. We're increasing spending since 2018 by about 50%. Revenue, how much is actually coming into the coffers of the Commonwealth? About 35%. And you can't run that forever, and we're running out of gimmicks very quickly to balance the books.
Yeah, I guess it gives a sign of my age. I'm 62 years old. The first budget I lobbied around when I first was working in Harrisburg, I think the budget was $12 billion for the state. This is the first time it ever went over $50 billion. Is that correct? This is the first budget that hit that level.
That's right, $50 billion. And people often ask me, well, what do we spend that on? Where does it all go? The vast majority goes to your human services and your schools. I mean, those are the big kahunas in the budget conversation. They're more than half of the spend. And that's also where we're seeing the most growth year in, year out.
Yeah. We're talking with Elizabeth Stell, Vice President of Policy with the Commonwealth Foundation. Our last few minutes with you, the Commonwealth Foundation has done so much research regarding education policy. There was a concern, and that you raised, the foundation raised this in a report, that the Department of Education is neglecting certain safe school options. Explain what that is. That came up this year as well.
Yeah, so the federal government raised this and said, hey, states, please make sure you're doing this. It's a program to identify schools that are persistently dangerous. So if you have so many violent incidents in your school, you're supposed to be designated as persistently dangerous. And that means that the students in your school have an option to transfer to a different school, or maybe even a different district if, all the schools in your district are persistently dangerous, in order to maintain their safety. It's very common sense. I mean, this is not rocket science. If kids are stuck in a dangerous school, they should have a lifeline out. And what we found is that Pennsylvania is utilizing a loophole by saying you can only qualify as persistently dangerous if the violent incident results in so many arrests, right? That's the key word, arrests. Well, if you're a parent, you don't necessarily care how many violent incidents result in arrests. You care about how many incidents there are. So they're they're finding a loophole around this regulation that's designed to keep kids safe. And we just think that's unconscionable, and the state needs to get serious about designating persistently dangerous schools and giving those kids an alternative.
Yep. That last topic I wanted to talk to, it's an ongoing issue, again, education, and that's your area of specialty with the foundation, are struggling urban schools and test scores. And I know the largest school district in our region here in southwestern Pennsylvania is the city of Pittsburgh, and their student population has consistently dropped. That really kicked in during the pandemic, where parents are making decisions to send their kids to charter schools, private schools, parochial schools, etc. To the point even during summer months, the school district of Pittsburgh has sent people into the community trying to recruit students to come back. Their parents convince their parents to send their kids back to the city schools. I've never heard that before. But that's an ongoing issue, too. Fewer and fewer students attending an urban school like Pittsburgh or Philadelphia, et cetera, Lancaster. It's an issue. Is there any indication of that reversing?
I think it's getting worse. I mean, I just saw some numbers in Philadelphia. Their enrollment is down about 8% since 2019. You mentioned Pittsburgh, down about 22% since 2015. And I just saw some new numbers on homeschooling. To give you context, a 72% increase since 2020 in the number of kids that are being homeschooled. We're seeing year-over-year increases in cyber charter school enrollment. I think parents are just realizing there's more options out there, and they're availing themselves of those options. And, here at Conversation, we're all the above. Students, families should have all the options. It's, not, what school is best. It's what school is best for your kid. And that answer is going to be different for every family. The problem we're seeing is that the funding is being consistently directed only to the district schools, to the detriment of any other options that a kid might choose. In fact, this last budget actually slashed funding for cyber charter students. At the same time, they increased funding for district schools by almost $850 million. So it's really not about the students, it's about the systems, and that has to change. And so we've advocated for student-based funding, where the funding follows the kid to the school of their choice, because all of these districts, are going to be facing some serious challenges with enrollment. We just don't have as many students, and I think that's going to be an ongoing conversation.
Elizabeth, you and your colleagues at the foundation have joined us several times throughout 2025, and we appreciate you and your colleagues taking time to do that. We appreciate your analysis on these issues that affect everybody. So, again, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it. Happy holidays to you and your colleagues, and Happy New Year to you as well. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you so much.
All righty. Take care. Elizabeth Stell, VP of Policy, Commonwealth Foundation. We're going to take a break now, folks. We come back. We'll wrap up hour number 1. What's on Your Mind show. I'm Doug Saltzman, filling in for Russ Rhodes today. I'll also be back later today, starting at 4 o'clock, a little earlier than normal, with the Afternoon Drive show. I'll be on air until 6:30 this evening on the Afternoon Drive show when we go to the pregame show for Pitt basketball. But first, you're listening to your local station, WMBS Uniontown. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This holiday season, the Paul G. Fink Funeral Home of Connellsville wishes you and your loved ones a Merry Christmas and a blessed and healthy New Year. Sincerely from Bethany, Dennis, and staff of the Paul G. Fink Funeral Home, serving our community with dignity and respect since 1957.
Have you been told there is nothing that can be done for your neuropathy? Tri-State Neuropathy Centers is pleased to tell you that's not true. As one of the largest and most successful neuropathy treatment practices in the country, Tri-State Neuropathy Centers has grown to 9 regional centers and helped over 14,000 patients, like John from Morgantown. John had such extreme numbness and pain that he was having difficulty feeling his car pedals. Then John discovered Tri-State Neuropathy Centers and their effective FDA-approved treatment program that has no drugs, is non-invasive, and painless. John's great results have given his freedom back, and he's doing the things he wants, like simply driving or cutting the grass. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers help John, along with thousands of others. Let them help you next. Call 304-777-2068. That's 304-777-2068. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, the leader in treating peripheral neuropathy.
Season's greetings from your friends at Economy Furnace Company. Along with our wishes for a blessed Christmas season, we also offer our customers a preferred service plan, providing complete peace of mind with repair and maintenance coverage for one affordable monthly fee. No additional costs or surprise charges. Economy Furnace's preferred service plan ensures systems run efficiently year-round while protecting against unexpected repair expenses. Economy Furnace Company customers can enjoy easy financing options for up to 15 years with low monthly payments designed to fit any budget. Qualified buyers enjoy 0% interest, making it easier than ever to upgrade or replace equipment without financial strain. No hidden fees, no upfront costs, and fast approval. Economy Furnace Company partners with Amana, making comfort and reliability accessible to everyone. The preferred service plan and flexible financing options combine convenience, affordability, and trusted service. Call Economy Furnace, 724-438-4575. Merry Christmas!
For economy, price, and quality service, call Economy Furnace.
For the best lunch spot in town, visit Titlow Tavern and Grill on West Main Street in Uniontown. Serving up lunch including daily specials and daily dinner specials, including Wednesday pasta and parm nights with chicken parm for $15 and veal parm for $19. and half-priced apps and $1 off drinks during happy hour Tuesday through Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. and Saturday from 9 to 10. Titlo's is also booking private parties. Call them today, 724-437-6749, or order online. Celebrate Kwanzaa with us, both in person and online, on Saturday, December 27th from 3 to 5 p.m. at the Fayette County African American History and Cultural Center in Uniontown. In partnership with Heinz Endowments, the center at 355 Connellsville Street will host a traditional Kwanzaa gathering filled with food, family, friends, and zawadi. All are welcome, and you're encouraged to bring a favorite dish to share. For more info, email storyjoyinc@gmail.com or call 215-880-4718.
Hello, this is Jeremy Davis with the law firm of Davis & Davis. As we wrap up another year, we want to take a moment to thank our clients, partners, and community for placing your trust in us. The holiday season is a time to reflect, reconnect, and celebrate safely. So from all of us at Davis & Davis, we wish you a joyful holiday season and a happy, healthy new year. Stay safe, enjoy the time with your loved ones, and we look forward to serving you in the year ahead.
All right, we're back here on What's on Your Mind, wrapping things up for hour number 1. And now Doug is in the studio with us.
Yeah, it's been an interesting show driving into the studio. Had a family thing to take care of today, and we'll leave it at that. And so I did the show remotely. I want to thank TJ for working things out as we had our first 2 guests on during the first hour. Filling in for Russ today. By the way, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah out there. Of course, this is now the 3rd day of Hanukkah, so Happy Hanukkah as well. Christmas 1 week away.
Hard to believe, huh?
Yeah, I shop year round. It's kind of a funny story. Years ago, buddies of mine, they always had this great Christmas party, 40, 50 people, and I couldn't go the one year because it was 2 days before Christmas and I hadn't shopped yet. And I was so mad at myself for missing the party. So ever since then, I kind of shop year round. But unfortunately, being a procrastinator, I wait late to start wrapping. So I started wrapping last night. So 8 days early is pretty good for me to start wrapping.
Did you wrap my gift yet?
I haven't gotten to your gift just yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll get to that. I always hold the biggest, most expensive gift till last. And I haven't wrapped Nick's either, but that's a small gift for Nick. I usually buy Nick a huge supply of food, but Nick doesn't eat anymore. Those of us who have seen Nick recently, the great disappearing Nick Barczyk, good heavens, he's lost, over 80, 90 pounds?
Yeah.
Amazing. Good for him. I've lost some weight over the last couple of years, but not that much, certainly. It's good for Nick. That's great. I want to thank Elizabeth Stell for joining us in our last interview before that. Of course, Thane Rosenbaum. As we continue our year in review discussions, we're going to check in with Robert Berger coming up early in the 2 o'clock hour. To get the latest what's going on in the Middle East. It'll be a live interview from Jerusalem. Then we're going to talk to Bob Grove, Pittsburgh Penguins and NHL analyst and historian. We'll do an interesting year in review for the Penguins, TJ. Of course, we'll talk about the end of the 24-25 season, the beginning of this season, which, as you mentioned earlier at the top of the show, man, they came out hot. They had the best record in hockey for the first month and a half. But, man, they have hit the skids. And what is this issue with them not being able to win in overtime or hold a lead in the third period?
Yeah, they have all kind of trouble anymore third period on. But I lost 6 in a row, and they're back in action tomorrow night in Ottawa. They just had that 5-game homestand, lost every game of the homestand.
Yeah, and
crazy.
2 things are rare. 5-game homestands, you don't see that too often. And usually that goes pretty well for the hometown team. It did not. So we're going to talk to Bob Grove. Who better to talk to him about that? I don't know if it's an age thing that you get into a third period. They're not as old as they were, but they're still an older team. Kristen Jarry, they gave up and went up against them last night. That was an odd trade. He seemed to be turning it around a little bit. But he has a chance now maybe to go to the Cup final, for heaven's sakes. Unfortunately, not for the Penguins. Let's hope we don't have third year in a row with the Penguins not being in the playoffs. You would hate to see that happening. As I mentioned earlier, I'll be doing, of course, the afternoon drive show today, starting early today at 4 o'clock, going to 6:30. We're going to talk to Dr. Robert Thompson. He is the director of the Bleier Center for Television and Pop Culture at Syracuse University. We'll do a year in review interview with him, and of course, talking about the career and the tragic deaths of Rob and Michelle Reiner. Rob Reiner, of course, best known as Meathead. He had a great line one time. He said forever he was going to be known as Meathead from his role in All in the Family. Mm-hmm. He said he could win the Nobel Prize, and the headline in the New York Times would say, Meathead wins Nobel. So it's good to look at things that way. CBS News is next on your local station, WMBS Uniontown.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Nick Reiner made his first court appearance today in the deaths of his parents, director Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. CBS's Jonathan Vigliotti was in the courtroom.
He was placed in an area within that courtroom that is called the box. It is a plexiglass room. It makes it quite difficult to actually see him directly, though I was able to get a glimpse of him. At moments, he seemed to shuffle, struggling to walk in it. He sat there rather calmly and stoically. The whole process was about 5 to 10 minutes. The only time we heard from him was when he told the judge he understood his rights to waive that speedy arraignment. The new date now set for the 7th as we await the district attorney to release the charging documents.
His attorney said there are very complex and serious issues associated with the case that need to be thoroughly dealt with and analyzed. There is a deal on Capitol Hill to force a House vote on extending Affordable Care Act subsidies. Caitlin Huey-Burns has details.
This discharge petition that was put forth by Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader in the House, this would be to force a vote on the House floor to extend those Obamacare subsidies for 3 years, a clean extension of current policy. And 4 Republicans have now signed on to that discharge petition. They are all, these Republicans, from moderate districts that the House Republicans need to keep in order to keep their majority. They have signed on to this, which shows you how big of an issue the rising cost of health care are in these battleground districts.
Former Justice Department Special Counsel Jack Smith was on Capitol Hill today for a closed-door interview with lawmakers. The Associated Press reports in his opening statements he said his team had developed proof beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump criminally conspired to overturn his 2020 election loss. Senate Democrats grilled the FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, today for pressuring broadcasters to remove Jimmy Kimmel from the air. Carr appeared in a hearing before the Senate Commerce Committee where Democrats accused him of politicizing the agency. The Oscars are moving to YouTube. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences announced that starting in 2029, the award ceremony will stream the event on YouTube. Reporter Matt Wolf.
For them to go to a straight-out streamer like YouTube, this is pretty seismic. It speaks volumes about how big streaming is now in our society and with media in general.
ABC, which has been the ceremony's longtime home, will continue broadcasting the event until 2028. Stocks are lower today. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's a day that ends in Y, so it's a day that you might decide you don't want to cook. That means it's the perfect day to order Fat Angelo's, offering delicious pizzas, salads, hoagies, strombolis and calzones, wings, and more. And with 12 locations across the area ready to serve you, today is the day to visit FatAngelosPizza.com, where you can quickly and conveniently find your local shop and place your order online, or get the local phone number and give them a call. Order up!
Ready to score big on your next home? Well, great news. Huge savings are waiting for you at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. From open floor plans perfect for game day parties to energy-efficient homes that will help you save money all season long, these homes are built to deliver. Don't wait on the sidelines. Make the winning play today and find the home that fits your family and lifestyle. Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon at 4500 Route 51.
A lot of Americans are preparing for a financial holiday hangover.
A new survey by the financial technology company Affirm finds 70% of people using credit cards for their holiday purchases will not pay their bills in full next month. 18% don't expect to pay off their holiday purchases until next summer or later. Bank of America's Dennis Johnson says it's important to plan ahead and not overspend.
Make a list, check it twice. Make sure that you are being very thoughtful about what you're going to get for the folks that you love.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
A new AP NORC poll finds more American adults are on board with giving cash or gift cards as holiday presents. The poll also found nearly half of Americans plan to be asleep before midnight on New Year's Eve, especially if they're over 45. 35% plan to leave holiday decorations up after New Year's Day, and a quarter plan to watch sports on Christmas Day. I'm Cammie McCormick, CBS News.
Now the local, district, and statewide news. Being brought to you by Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant Dieter. Keeping you warm and cozy in winter and cool and comfortable in summer with a quality Bryant gas furnace or air conditioning system. And now the news.
Good afternoon. It's 2:05. It is sunny and 50 outside the Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. Injured call today for your free consultation, 724-437-2799. Your local station, 590 AM, 101.1 FM, WMBS. I'm TJ DeStefano. Sports and weather will follow the news. The Fayette County Commissioners will vote to approve a 2026 general fund budget at their business meeting on Thursday. Commissioners Scott Dunn, Vince Vasides, and Harry Kaufman voted to put the budget vote on the December agenda Tuesday. Vasides told WMBS there will not be a tax increase with this year's budget. Numerous appointments will be made to various boards and authorities as well at the voting meeting on Thursday, including to the Behavioral Health Advisory Board, the Hospital and Housing Authority, and the FACT Transportation Committee, among others. The commissioners will also vote to dissolve the Fayette County Uniform Construction Code, UCC, Appeals Board, effective at the beginning of the year. The Salvation Army Western Pennsylvania needs to raise over $1 million before Christmas Eve to meet its funding goals for the annual Red Kettle campaign. As of Wednesday, the local division has raised $1,225,138, which is 53% of its total goal of $2,303,000. Several Salvation Army centers in Western Pennsylvania are currently below 50% of their fundraising goals, highlighting the urgent need for community support. Locations in Greensburg, Latrobe, and Mon Valley, Donora are particularly in need of increased donations to continue their essential services. Donations raised during this campaign directly benefit local communities. Supporters can contribute by making in-person donations at various locations or through give.salvationarmy.org. Additionally, donations can be made by texting the word kettle to 31333 for immediate contributions. UGI is issuing a safety alert following an increase in reported carbon monoxide emergencies in Pennsylvania. The utility company says carbon monoxide cases usually increase in the winter due to problems with heating equipment or running equipment in enclosed spaces. Residents are urged to make sure that they have working carbon monoxide detectors on each floor of your home and to keep your heating system regularly serviced. Anyone who believes they are experiencing carbon monoxide poisoning should immediately seek fresh air and call 911. The most popular holiday dish in each of the 50 states is being revealed, and here's more from Mark Mayfield.
The website Delish.com used Google Trends and other search data to determine the most popular holiday food in each state. Crab legs were the most popular in Alaska, prime rib took the top spot in Idaho, and gumbo was the favorite in Louisiana. In Pennsylvania, pizzellis are the most popular food item this year. Pizzellis originated in Italy and are described as a waffle-like cookie which can either be crispy and crunchy or soft and chewy. I'm Mark Mayfield.
WMBS time is 2:09. Sports and weather after this.
439-2323.
For 24-hour emergency service, call us when you need. We're Fayette's Heating and Air Conditioning, your service company.
Be prepared for bone-chilling winter weather. Have Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning install a Bryant high-efficiency furnace in your home to replace that old worn-out system you now have. Choose Bryant's Plus 90 gas furnace or other quality heating system to keep yourself and your family warm and toasty this winter. Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning will also keep your present furnace running at peak efficiency with their 15-point safety check and cleaning. Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning today for your appointment. 724-439-2323. That's Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant dealer, Route 119 north of Uniontown, located near Laurel Mall.
Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323.
In sports, college basketball tonight, Pitt will host Binghamton at the Peterson Events Center. We'll have the game on WMBS. The pregame will be at 6:30 with tip-off at 7. And the Steelers, they're 8-6. They'll visit the 8-6 Detroit Lions on Sunday afternoon. We'll have the game here on WMBS. The pregame will be at 3 o'clock with kickoff at 4:25. Mostly sunny skies for the rest of the afternoon. The high will be 52. Mostly cloudy tonight, 32 the low, and partly cloudy tomorrow will reach 62. Right now it is sunny and 50 outside the Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios at 2:10 on this Wednesday afternoon. I'm TJ DeStefano. Up next, hour 2 of What's on Your Mind with Doug Saltzman on WMBS.
The local, district, and statewide news has been brought to you by Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant dealer. Route 119 north of Uniontown, located near Laurel Mall. Phone 439-2323.
Unwrap faster internet this holiday season with Armstrong. Give yourself the gift of whole home internet with enhanced Wi-Fi, powered by our advanced fiber network. Plus, with our self-installation kit, you can get up and running as soon as same day. Don't wait till the last minute. Visit ArmstrongOneWire.com and treat yourself to a gift that lasts all year. Internet you can count on, the people you trust. That's Armstrong.
The season isn't joyful for everyone. That's why St. Peter's Lutheran Church on Walnut Hill Road in Uniontown invites you to a Blue Christmas service on Sunday, December 21st at 4 p.m. Often called the longest night, this quiet, prayerful service offers comfort for anyone facing illness, depression, grief, loneliness, or financial stress. Come find hope, healing, and the warmth of God and community. Join us Sunday, December 21st at 4 p.m. All are welcome. Hey, you looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle? Well, look no more, because with over 200 vehicles, Gary's Auto Sales is the largest used car dealer in the area. Whether you want a car, a truck, or an SUV, you'll absolutely find what you're looking for at Gary's. Gary's has been in business since 1974. You can visit them online at Gary'sAutoSales.com, or you can give them a call at 724-626-8080. Gary's Auto Sales. Many miles, many smiles.
Are you considering a project design and don't know where to start? K2 Engineering offers a wide range of professional civil, architectural, and municipal services to meet your individual project needs. Our versatility combined with our personalized approach is what sets us apart as a full-service engineering and consultation firm. To learn more about our services, please visit us on the web at www.k2engineering.net. K2 Engineering, where customer service is our priority.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest, now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
'Tis the season for Santa and his elves to begin packing up all those Christmas presents for delivery. At Chesler's Fine Furniture, they also offer delivery, and their elves are ready to pack up a sack full of great gifts for all those on your Christmas shopping list, offering fantastic selection and fantastic savings. Lazy Boy recliners starting at just $4.99. 5-piece all-wood dining sets, ideal for holiday entertaining, start at just $5.99. Chesler's offers sofa options, perfect for your Christmas morning, starting at just $4.99, and chairside tables starting at only $149. If you have someone with special needs on your holiday shopping list, Lift recliners start at $7.99, and the incredible Joffrin transitional electric fireplace console oak TV stand is just $3.99, creating the perfect fireside setting for your Christmas memories. Credit terms and layaway are available. Chesler's Fine Furniture, Route 51 in Uniontown, where customers send their friends this holiday season and every day throughout the year.
Are you looking to list or sell your house? Now is the time to let the professionals at Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty help you with all of your real estate needs. Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty has two convenient locations to better serve you. In Uniontown area, 724-437-7100, or in Connellsville area, 724-628-7200, and speak with one of our real estate professionals. Visit our website, caldwellbanker.com. We have been proudly serving Western Pennsylvania area for over 30 years and look forward to helping you with all of your real estate needs. Broker Paul Bortz Jr.
Your local station, WMBS.
The views and opinions presented by the host, guests, or callers on this program do not necessarily represent the positions of WMBS Radio.
TJ DeStefano just walked into our studio here to give me the breaking news. The Penguins have been sold to a Chicago-based investment group, a report says. This is from what I'm looking at here, Yahoo Sports and WPXI.com. An agreement has been made to sell the Pittsburgh Penguins, citing sources. NHL insider Frank Saravelli reports that Fenway Sports Group has agreed to sell the Penguins to the Hoffman family, a Chicago-based investment group led by David Hoffman. An official announcement is expected in the coming days. So, yeah, Fenway Sports Group, of course, purchased the Penguins in 2021 for $900 million from Ron Burkle and Mario Lemieux, who bought the team to save it out of bankruptcy in 1999. I'd forgotten they owned it for that long. My gosh, over 20 years. So, yeah, interesting news, to say the least. As I mentioned earlier, we'll be talking with Bob Grove, Pittsburgh Penguins and NHL analyst and historian, coming up at 2:35. So we'll obviously get the take from him, and he'll know more about that than any of us. So yeah, that's big news. I know. I guess Burkle and Lemieux were trying to buy it back at one point from the team, from the organization that they sold it to, Fenway Sports Group. But I'm guessing that they were outbid. So I have a feeling if the new owners are smart, Lemieux will still be part of that. Probably a non-executive chairman or something like that, or vice chair. And an interesting time to buy the Penguins, considering they're not doing that well, but decisions aren't made on a 6-game losing streak, I suppose. As TJ mentioned earlier, yeah, they had lost all 5 of their home games. There aren't too many 5-game homestands, let alone to lose all 5 at home. And of course, that followed the Penguins trading Kristen Jarry to the Oilers, and they just played them last night. But other topics, of course, going on around the globe, and we will continue with our end of the year in review interviews today and later today during the afternoon drive show. I'll be on a little earlier today, the normal 4 o'clock to 6:30. Then we go to Pittsburgh Panthers men's basketball. That pregame show will start tonight at 6:30. But joining us right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital Talk Line, live from Jerusalem, CBS News correspondent and a reporter, of course, Robert Berger. Robert, thank you very much for joining us. We don't get a lot of opportunities to talk to you. I'm usually on later in the afternoon when your shift is done. But we wanted to check in with you to get the latest with everything going on in the world. It's hard to believe a war of this gap might sometimes, occasionally. Oh, sounds like we just lost Robert Berger. But we'll see if we can get him back on the line. Can't always get smooth connections, I guess, from the other side of the globe. But we'll get him right back on the line as soon as possible. As I was mentioning there, may not be on the front page every day what's going on in the Middle East. But Robert Berger will give us the latest on what's happening out there. But stick around. Yeah, well, they are going to give me an hour off today. I think you'll be hearing enough from me. You don't need to hear from me again between 3 and 4 o'clock. So, yeah, you'll get a break from me, but I'll be back at 4 o'clock today. And we've got a number of different topics we're going to be talking about as part of our year in review. Dr. Robert Thompson's going to join us from Syracuse University. He's director of the Bleier Center for TV, Television, and Pop Culture. We'll talk to him on those issues. Mark Wall's going to join us from the United States Postal Service to give the deadlines for last-minute mailing and shipping. Rich Fitzgerald's going to join us. He's executive director of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission. Of course, it was just in the news yesterday that Commissioner Vince Ricci has been elected chair of that commission. And I think we got him back on again, joining us on the What's on Your Mind show, Robert Berger from Jerusalem. Robert, thank you very much for joining us today, sir. Wanted to get talk with you. We don't have a lot of chances. I do a show later than you usually. Want to get the latest on what's going on in the Middle East, the war between Israel and Hamas. What's the latest on the negotiations for a peace?
Well, the ceasefire that's been in effect for a while now it's holding more or less, and Israel has gotten all but one of the hostages back, which is really the biggest sign of success of this whole thing. And there's just one hostage, a dead hostage left. And then the plan would be to move into phase 2 of the ceasefire. Israel says until that dead hostage is returned, that won't happen. There are incidents frequently, though, with Hamas gunmen sometimes crossing into Israeli-controlled territory, and then there are clashes, and then Israel retaliates, and there have been both Hamas and civilian casualties. And so it's a tenuous ceasefire, but, all things considered, it's a lot better than it was just a few months ago with the raging war.
Yeah, a tenuous ceasefire is better than no ceasefire, is a good way to put it. Let's talk about that phase 2 you mentioned a moment ago, Robert. As you mentioned, it's a tenuous. The ceasefire is holding right now. What is expected to occur during that phase 2 once that final and now the seized hostage is returned? What will phase 2 include?
Phase 2, I was going to say it is a lot more difficult than phase 1, even though I think a lot of people were skeptical that Israel could get all the 48 hostages back, more than 20 of whom were alive, which happened very early on in the ceasefire. But now you really do have the nitty-gritty. And what is that? Well, first of all, the disarmament of Hamas. That is one of the key points of phase 2. And who is going to disarm Hamas, or would they give up their weapons voluntarily? We've been hearing over and over again now from Hamas officials, senior Hamas officials, that Hamas won't relinquish its weapons. And then if that's the case, then how is phase 2 going to proceed? Having said that, the U.S. really wants phase 2 to succeed. There are American troops here, not exactly boots on the ground, but there's an American operating center right on the Gaza border where they're working on this ceasefire. And the plan is to have an interim government, and of which Hamas would not be a part, and then also to have a peacekeeping force. But first things you have to do is disarm Hamas. Boy, that's hard to imagine how that's going to happen.
Yeah. And then once they are disarmed, would they be given permission at least to have defensive weapons? Should they be attacked by someone besides Israel, I suppose? I think back to how that could occur as far back as after World War II, when certain countries were at least been given opportunity to defend themselves. Is that even a possibility here, or is Israel simply saying absolutely no armament should Hamas possess?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. I think Israel would like to see no armament, but you're not going to get every last Kalashnikov, that's kind of a technicality that probably they would have to have some weapons, but certainly not the arsenal that they had before October 7th. I mean, no rockets, of course, and that means also dismantling whatever rocket factories might be left and preventing them from being rebuilt. That would be the job of the peacekeeping force, but Israel's very skeptical that the peacekeeping force would really do anything if Hamas was building weapons. The main thing is to get the heavy weapons and also the tunnels. The tunnels are a weapon that, and Israel has only succeeded in dismantling some of them. So it's a major job. And then, as I said earlier, Hamas is saying, well, we're not going to disarm. Hamas's whole existence, it's an armed resistance movement. It's a jihadist movement. So you take away its weapons and it ceases to exist. So that's going to be very difficult. By the way, Prime Minister Netanyahu due to travel to Mar-a-Lago at the end of the month to discuss all this because the U.S. really does want Phase 2 to take place.
Yeah. And how does, at that point then, who would be the ruling, I don't want to say the ruling class, but who would oversee that region then? Who would be the, I don't even know how to describe it, the president, the prime minister, the leader of Hamas at that point? What is that a phase 3 or 4 as to who would govern that region?
Well, Hamas is supposed to be out. It is a terrorist group, and according to everyone involved, which would be the U.S., Israel, the Arab states, Hamas cannot be involved or cannot rule Gaza again. Okay, so the talk is, and then Israel doesn't really like the other Palestinian party, Fatah, or the Palestinian Authority. Israel thinks they also support terror. So there's talk of a technocratic government. In other words, professionals that aren't really affiliated with any particular party. And that would be a Palestinian government. And then you have overseeing the whole thing an international governing force led by none other than Donald Trump.
Yeah. And your experience, and we'll wrap up with this, do you recall administration having two levels of negotiations going on, Hamas, Israel, and of course Russia, Ukraine? Do you recall an administration having this level of involvement, perhaps back to, I don't know, we're talking about World War II era, the Roosevelt administration, Truman? It seems like a lot on the plate for any administration.
Not really, I don't remember. I mean, of course, the U.S. has been involved in the so-called peace process in one form or another, and until that collapsed somewhere around 2015, the peace process between Israel and the Palestinians. But we've had, to be honest, we haven't had this kind of a war, 2-year war. The conflicts between Israel and Hamas, of course, America was always involved in trying to broker some kind of ceasefire. But now you're talking about this 2-year war, and yeah, Trump's got a lot on his plate. But he did manage to broker this ceasefire and get the hostages back. People over here, including myself and most journalists, really didn't think that was possible. You'd get a ceasefire and get all the hostages back before Israel even pulled out of Gaza. So that is quite an achievement. But yeah, the Ukraine thing is turning out to be a lot more difficult than President Trump wanted. And also now we have phase 2 of this ceasefire, and as we discussed, it's going to be very difficult to implement that. But President Trump really wants it.
Yeah. Unprecedented is a term that's used nonstop for the Trump administration, to say the least. Jared Kushner, his own son-in-law, being involved, perhaps nothing that close to a family member being involved since maybe Bobby Kennedy Sr. being involved during the Cuban Missile Crisis with international affairs. So, yeah, to say this is interesting and unique and historic from all standpoint is certainly an understatement. Robert Berger, we don't get to talk to you very much because I'm on later and you're done for the day.
It's always great to talk to you anytime.
We appreciate your taking time to talk to us. Folks, if you want to see an
Sure.
interesting bio,
Happy
check
holidays.
out Robert Berger's bio. Absolutely amazing. Robert, happy holidays to you. Happy New Year to you. As always, keep
All right.
safe. Thank you, sir.
Bye now.
Thank you. Robert Berger, CBS News correspondent, live from Jerusalem. If you take a look at his resume and what he has done throughout his career, what he has covered in the Middle East, it is absolutely simply really astounding. And the level of reporting, and you think where he has to go to handle that. He's been reporting for CBS, how about this, since 1989, based in Jerusalem, has covered major events, including the first Gulf War, the Israel-PLO Accords in 93, the assassination of Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin in 95, the second Palestinian uprising in the early 2000s, you name it, the second Lebanon War, the Gaza War. He's been in with U.S. forces in the Persian Gulf, covered the funeral of Jordan's King Hussein, the terrorist bombing in Amman and Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. You name it, Robert Berger has covered it throughout his career. Absolutely amazing guy. Grew up in Kansas City, went to college in Boston, and has covered the Middle East now, as I mentioned. His coverage of the Lebanon War brought additional Edward R. Murrow and Sigma Delta Chi awards. Fascinating reporting. When you hear him report, it is spot on. We appreciate him joining us today. 50 degrees right now. I almost want to check a second source. Good heavens, compared to a few days ago, 50 degrees right now outside our Davis and Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. I'm Doug Saltzman. It's the What's on Your Mind show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. As I mentioned earlier, I'm filling in for Russ today. Glad to be with you till 3 o'clock. I'll be back at 4 o'clock for the afternoon drive show as we continue our year in review interviews. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk to Bob Grove. As I mentioned right after the news, the Penguins have been sold. So no doubt we'll talk to Bob Grove about that, the impact that might have on the Penguins as we take a look at their year 2025, the end of last season, the beginning of this season, which started hot, but man, it went downhill quick. We're going to hit that CBS News brief now at 2:31. Stick around. We'll talk to Bob Grove next.
CBS News Brief. The son of director Rob Reiner made his first court appearance today in the des of his parents. He did not enter a plea. His lawyer, Alan Jackson.
This was a continuance of arraignment. Nothing happened today substantively. We'll be back for an arraignment in the same department on the 7th of January.
Caitlin Huey Burns reports 4 moderate Republicans have joined Democrats pushing to extend Affordable Care Act subsidies.
They signed onto a discharge petition. This is a way to force a vote on the House floor if the Speaker doesn't bring one up. And so now it has the necessary signatures needed to force a vote on this.
Matt Wolf reports the Oscar ceremony is moving to YouTube.
The younger audiences, that's where they have captive audiences. Look at all the numbers that YouTube is pulling in these days.
The move will happen in 2029. The Academy says ABC will continue to broadcast the show until then. Stocks are lowered today. CBS News Brief, I'm Cammie McCormick.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, Christmas. Mahoney's Fork and Froth and Nene's Diner on Fayette Street wish you all a very Merry Christmas. It's time for gathering with family and friends and delicious food. Nene's Kitchen is open from 6:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday with the best breakfast around and homemade daily specials, including chicken and biscuits, cabbage rolls, lasagna, hot roast beef, and more. You can also enjoy your favorite beverage at Mahoney's. Bar is open from 3 p.m. to midnight, Tuesday through Saturday, with entertainment nightly. In the spirit of the holiday season, the Mahoney family will also be hosting their annual free Christmas dinner from noon till 2 p.m. at Mahoney's Fork and Froth, and invite anyone who's alone and those who are not able to have a holiday meal to join them for Christmas dinner. Merry Christmas from the Mahoney family and the Hanna family, and best wishes for a wonderful new year.
Season's greetings from your friends at Economy Furnace Company. Along with our wishes for a blessed Christmas season, we also offer our customers a preferred service plan, providing complete peace of mind with repair and maintenance coverage for one affordable monthly fee. No additional costs or surprise charges. Economy Furnace's preferred service plan ensures systems run efficiently year-round while protecting against unexpected repair expenses. Economy Furnace Company customers can enjoy easy financing options for up to 15 years with low monthly payments designed to fit any budget. Qualified buyers enjoy 0% interest, making it easier than ever to upgrade or replace equipment without financial strain. No hidden fees, no upfront costs, and fast approval. Economy Furnace Company partners with Amana, making comfort and reliability accessible to everyone. The preferred service plan and flexible financing options combine convenience, affordability, and trusted service. Call Economy Furnace, 724-438-4575. Merry Christmas!
For economy, price, and quality service, call Economy Furnace.
Happy holidays from Uniontown Liquidation Outlet. Enjoy 30 to 70% off retail prices. We have the best toys for Christmas, from Lego to household items and tools. Perfect for those hard to buy for individuals. Uniontown Liquidation Outlet inside the Uniontown Mall. Visit us on Facebook, Uniontown Liquidation Outlet. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
It's a new day at WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital, and we're bringing a new level of quality healthcare to our community. From primary care to specialty services, our team has always put patients first. And now, thanks to our merger with WVU Medicine, our commitment to patient-centered care has grown even stronger. With new resources, a growing staff, and advanced technology, our team is here to provide you with top-quality care when it matters most. Discover the new Uniontown Hospital and see how we've grown.
Having Hickson Boss Drugstore in Uniontown means reliability, quality, and service. Pharmacists Stephen Harper and Seth Miller gladly answer healthcare questions and take care of your prescription needs. This is flu season. Call Hickson Boss at 724-437-2828 and ask about flu shot availability and other vaccines. Free prescription delivery, mail-out service, and dependable courteous service are Hickson Boss' way of doing business. Hickson Boss Drugstore, 304 Morgantown Street. Open Monday through Friday 9 to 6, Saturday till 3, closed Sunday.
Experiencing symptoms of COPD? Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale has been selected to conduct a clinical research study, and participants are needed. All study-related care will be provided at no cost, and no health insurance is required. Compensation up to $2,200 for qualified participants for time and travel. To learn more, call Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. That's Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281.
WMBS.
Welcome back to What's on Your Mind show. I'm Doug Saltzman, filling in for Russ Rhodes today with you till 3 o'clock. I'll be back at 4 o'clock for the afternoon drive show on from 4 to 6 tonight. Then we go to the Pittsburgh Panthers men's basketball pregame show at 6:30. They're taking on Binghamton tonight. I was just talking to TJ DeStefano. And, of course, they beat Ohio State earlier this year on the last-second buzzer shot, as they did last year, but then they lose to Hofstra and others. So we'll see how the Panthers do tonight. Again, that pregame show starts tonight at 6:30. As we reported here, thanks to TJ coming in to tell me just as we were going on the air after the news at 2 o'clock, the Penguins have been sold. That's been rumored out there, of course, and I understand, from what I've read, Ron Burkle and Lemieux were trying to buy it back from Fenway Sports Group, but that's not what happened here. So just by fluke, who better to talk to than Penguins and NHL analyst and historian Bob Grove, who joins us on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital Talk Line. Bob, thanks for joining us. Happy holidays to you. We appreciate you joining us. How have you been?
I'm great, Doug. It's great to be on with you, and happy holidays to you and all your listeners as well.
Yeah, it's not a great surprise that Penguins were sold, but were you surprised at who they were sold to?
No, the Hoffman family of companies has emerged number of months ago as a likely buyer if Fenway was going to sell, and Fenway today is not confirming or denying the reports. I think Frank Saravalli is the first one I see reporting it today that this deal has been done, but we're still waiting for confirmation for any of the principals. But no, this group, it's an investment group that the Hoffman family of companies based in Chicago. They own a lot of different kind of companies. They're in the media. They have a hockey team in the East Coast League, the Florida Everglades. This is not surprising. This. I think everybody's been just sort of waiting for this to get done.
So are they also a management company, or do you see in a situation like this that they will likely keep management in place and simply keep it running and bring the Penguins maybe back to where they could be?
Well, I mean, the Penguins are not where they are right now, which is, having missed the playoffs 3 years in a row and hoping to end it this season. They're not there because of a lack of money. I mean, Fenway was spending right to the cap, just like Mario's group had spent before. So it's really not a question of money. So I don't think that's really going to change, even though the salary cap is going up pretty substantially in the next few seasons. I don't expect that to change. And the typical way that these sales happen is that they'll leave the management group in Pittsburgh there, and the Hoffman family will appoint somebody to sort of oversee it, and I'm sure they're going to take a while and evaluate what they have and see if there's any changes to be made at a later point. But I don't think we'll see anything dramatic happen in terms of the leadership of the team immediately after the sale.
Do you see Lemieux playing any role? I mean, from a PR standpoint, it would make sense to have him as vice chair or something like that of the team, just from that standpoint. Do you think Mario would want to have a role like that? Obviously, they tried to buy them back. At least that was, you and I talked about that a while back. So do you see the Hoffmans somehow including Lemieux?
Well, I mean, let's remember that the reports that Mario and Burkle were getting back into the game and were going to be among the groups that might be interested in buying it back from Fenway was just a report that really had never been confirmed by Mario or anybody close to him. So I mean, we've heard that was the case, but then as things went on, it seemed like they didn't have quite the money that it's going to take, and there's been no sale price reported that I've seen yet. And let's remember that when Fenway bought the Penguins back in early 2021, they paid $900 million for them. The guesstimate right now is that the next NHL expansion franchise is going to cost $2 billion. So given that, you would expect that the Penguins have been valued at somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.7 billion. So we would expect the sale to be somewhere around that number. And whether Mario's group, look, Burkle's got enough money to do that if they really wanted to. So how close Mario's group got to getting back into the game and buying the Penguins back, we won't know until they tell us. How close they came, why they sold the team if they were going to get right back in and try to buy them back, which when you and I last talked, that was the thing that was curious for me. I didn't really understand why they would have sold the team if they wanted back in. So we'll have to wait and see, for some details in the coming days and weeks on this sale.
Yeah. Talking with Bob Grove about the Penguins, of course, and this news just came out within the last hour that the Penguins have been sold again. Were you surprised how fast this happened? That'll be the last question on this topic, that Fenway Sports Group has only owned this team for now less than 5 years. Or was it just too good an opportunity to pass up? I mean, that's a lot of profit, not bad for 5 years.
Yeah, and that's right, Doug. And that's the thing is, the circles that Fenway moves in the sports. I mean, they own Liverpool, and that's just a money-making machine for them. They've got the media interest. They've got the Red Sox. And I don't know if there's easier ways to make. They stand to make what, $700-800 million on this. But I didn't expect them when they bought the Penguins to just stick around for less than 5 years or about 5 years. No, that's surprising to me, and I'm not sure why they got into the NHL and then got out of it so fast. Again, unless it's just they saw it as a way to to make some money. But that's just not typically been the way they've run their sports properties. So we'll have to wait and see if they have anything to say about why they decided to get out of it. But it's interesting nonetheless.
Obviously, we'll watch and see what they might buy in the first quarter of 2026 now that they're sitting on a flush over $500 million profit from this sale. Well, let's talk about the Penguins now, the year in review, and I've been continuing these interviews on a number of topics. A disappointing end of the 2024-25 season earlier this year. Didn't make the playoffs again. And then the beginning of this year, man, they came out really moving along. They had one of the best records in the NHL early on, month and a half of the season. And then suddenly, man, lately they've hit the skids. A 6-game losing streak. Aren't too many 5-game homestands, and they lost all 5, some in overtime. Of course, they traded Jari. All this kind of hitting right before the end of the year. Kind of disappointing. Do you see one reason for it, aside from obviously they're not scoring enough goals or holding leads? That's my type of analysis, but your brain's a lot smarter when it comes to this stuff.
Well, I don't know about that. We just look at all the numbers, both of us do, and you have a pretty good feel for it, Doug. Look, the Penguins today, they've lost 6 in a row, and they sit 1 point out of a playoff spot. So if you'd have started the season and said to somebody back in the first week of October that heading into Christmas you'd be 1 point out of a playoff spot, there isn't a Penguin fan who wouldn't have taken that, because nothing was expected of this team this year. They've got Dan Muse in replace of Mike Sullivan. The core is obviously getting older. No one expected them to come close to making the playoffs. They missed by 11 points last season. So no one was expecting, as the Penguins are, as Kyle Dubas, the GM, is rebuilding the franchise, them to be anywhere near a playoff spot. And as you pointed out, as they started the season, they had 2 regulation losses in their first 10 games. And really, they built their early season success on 2 things, which was the goaltending was really good. Tristan Jarry especially was good. And the special teams were outstanding. And both of those things have changed, recently, as they've started to lose games. Obviously, as you mentioned, Jari's been traded. The Penguins moving an asset. It's probably its point of highest value in the Skinner trade that also brought Kulak. But the special teams have not been quite as sharp. The power play. Last night, they got a power play goal, and they're still, they were so good early in the season, Doug, in special teams. They were the only team, and still were going into last night's game. I haven't checked today's numbers. They're the only team in the NHL whose power play and penalty kill were both in the top 5. So if you look at the early season success, for me, it's built on goaltending, and it's built on special teams, and of course, Crosby doing what he did. Malkin got off to a great start as well. That helped. But Malkin is now hurt. They missed 20. They got 20 games. Raquel was out for 20 games. They're just not a deep enough team to withstand those kinds of injury absences to key players. So 20 games for Raquel. He's back now, but Malkin is still out, and they haven't won. They haven't won any of these games without Gino. So they're not deep enough to withstand that. And as you mentioned, the biggest issue after the great start was they just can't close games. They can't hold leads. They've blown. They were the first team in NHL history here last week to lose consecutive games in which they had 3-goal leads in the third period. It's never been done. The NHL's been around since 1917. So when you are creating new ground in the NHL, it's significant. And to do it that way has really been a blow to the Penguins. They've left so many points on the table, Doug. They could almost be in first place right now if they'd have closed out the games they should have closed out. But they can't. That's a problem for this team, and they still haven't solved it.
Yeah, 3-goal leads, and heck, the one game, what was it, 5-1 with 14 minutes left. You give up a goal with less than a second left in a game. Does something like that, that's a heartbreaker. Does that impact how you do in overtime or the shootout? Like, oh my God, we were this close and we blew it. That's got to have an impact. I don't care how much of a veteran you are to have a game tied with less than a second left.
Oh, I think it does, for sure. And that's one of the things is when you get past regulation, it's been a real disaster for them. They haven't won a shootout this year. They've only won 1 game in overtime. They've lost all the others. I think the number now is the last 10 times the games have been decided after overtime, they've won 1, they've lost 9. And I think, yes, absolutely. When you get to overtime of a game you should have won, I think it weighs on you. And the thing that's happening for me, it's really a mindset, Doug. I mean, you can just sense it with this team. And it's not because they're obviously, this is a team full of young kids. The Penguins have been getting a little bit younger in the last couple of years, but they're still not a young team. And they should know better. It's just a mentality. They don't have the right mentality when they get to the third period with the lead. And when things start to crumble, they crumble. They don't push back. And that for me is the mentality of the players you have isn't right. And that's the challenge for Dan Hughes, is you got to fix it.
Yeah. The comment you made there, they're getting younger, but they're not young. Is that what happens in the third? As you mentioned, they just don't have the depth. And you've got an older team. It's a strain on the body for anybody, for heaven's sakes. By the time you get to the third period and you're an older team, is that what's causing these collapses, or is it just mentality?
No, it's the mentality for me. It's not their age. They have the experience. Look, there isn't an NHL player out there, Doug, who, when you're up 5-1 in the third period, who doesn't know what's next. They don't know. There isn't an NHL player who doesn't know what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to close the game out. You don't need any more goals. You're supposed to, if you have to play it safe, you play it safe. Your whole mindset should be about preventing goals. And that's not where the Penguins live. And when they give up one, they just seem to get rattled. And they make mistakes that they haven't been making through the rest of the game. And it's a weird situation. It's not, for me, it's not an X's and O's thing. You can talk about some of the X's and O's, and they don't win puck battles in the defensive zone. They don't get first to pucks. They don't get first to rebounds in the defensive zone when it's the third period and teams are really pushing to tie a game or get another goal against them. Yeah, they're doing some of that X's and O things, but I would say, again, it's just a mindset. If these guys don't have it in them to push back and take back control of a game that they had won, that's a problem. And that's the issue that Kyle Dubas has to be weighing right now, is looking at which of the players are the problem, and making your evaluations going forward, remembering that.
Of course, the amount of playoffs they made in a row was amazing, 2007 to 2022, and then they missed the last 3 years. At some point, does Sidney Crosby say, I've had a heck of a career. I'd like to make the playoffs, but I think I've had enough. Does that kick in at some point for him? I mean, there's no better team player than him. You never hear a bad thing about him. You don't hear about him causing problems in the community, hanging out at bars. If he goes, he should be applauded. But I would think at some point he's got to say, I've had a good career. Now that we've missed the playoffs, God forbid, heaven forbid they miss it this year. Would that have an impact on his decision, do you think, or is he just too loyal to the team?
Well, this has been a subject of speculation, heavy speculation, Doug, for really the last couple of years now. And a lot of media outside of Pittsburgh constantly reporting, like, what if, where would he go? Does he really want to stay? When he's asked about it publicly, Sid never says he wants to go. He says he's fine where he is. And so, until his attitude about that changes, I don't expect him to leave. And I think he's been pretty clear that he wants to stay here. But there are a lot of people, and this isn't just media people, but there are others as well, who really believe that as his career winds down, and he's got, he's going to be coming up for another contract here soon. That his mind might change as he's getting older, and he wants to do what you just said, is take another shot and win. But I mean, everything he said indicates that he wants to stay, and so I mean, until that changes, I think it's just business as usual.
Yeah,
because he's still playing great.
I always get a kick out of once in a while. You say, that maybe they're going to trade him to get young. I'm like, oh please, they're not going to trade Sidney Crosby, for heaven's sake. It would have been like trading Willie Stargell back in the day. Just certain things aren't going to happen on a team, and there's nobody been better for the Penguins than he has over the years. When you live for the first many years of your career with the owner and his family, that puts you in a different level of your commitment to the team, and what a decent guy you are. Hey, Bob, you've joined us several times throughout 2025. We appreciate your taking time to join us today to talk about the year in review. Let's hope we don't have 4 years in a row. That might be another record after making it from 20 2007 to 2022, then missed the playoffs for 4 years in a row. We don't want to set another record like losing the first team to lose 3 goal leads in the third period in the history of the team, history of the league, I should say, since 1917. That would be a real mess. Bob, thanks so much. Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year. We appreciate your taking time to join us throughout the year.
Same to you, Doug. Thanks for having me.
All righty. Thank you. Bob Grove joining us on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital Talk Line, talking Penguins, the year in review. That's an interesting stat. I did not realize that it had set the record, but the Penguins blew 2 3-goal leads in the third period for the first time in the history of the National Hockey League, which has been around since 1917. The Penguins have only been around since 67, but the league has been around a long time. In fact, Pittsburgh had a hockey team back in the early days of the NHL, and that's what allowed them to switch from blue and white uniforms to black and gold, despite the fact that Boston has black and gold uniforms. In fact, Boston complained about that when the Penguins first announced, I think it was 1980, towards the end of the original Super Bowl era, that they were going to change their jerseys from blue and white to black and gold to match the Pirates and the Penguins. But Boston complained, but they lost that argument because the original team in Pittsburgh in the NHL were black and gold as well. We're going to take a break right now. We're going to wrap up the What's on Your Mind show. I'm Doug Saltzman, filling in for Russ Rhodes today. I will give you an idea of what we're going to talk about during the afternoon drive show. That starts early today at 4 o'clock. You'll get rid of me for an hour. We'll have America's Best Music coming on after the 3 o'clock national and local news. But first, you're listening to What's on Your Mind on the local station, WMBS Uniontown.
This custom of Christmas is brought to you by First Federal Savings and Loan Association of Greene County, inviting you to Customer Appreciation Day on Friday, December 19th. And remember, they'll close at noon on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve.
Introducing personal loans from First Federal of Greene County. You can access up to $25,000 with no collateral, no application fee, and no closing costs, plus fixed rate interest, flexible loan terms, and a simple application. This is a personal loan designed for your busy life. Visit ffgc.bank for more information or visit a loan officer in Uniontown or Waynesburg to get started today. First Federal Savings and Loan Association of Greene County, member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS number 458729.
The customs of Christmas.
Toys for Tots donates toys to children whose parents cannot afford to buy them gifts for Christmas. It's been around since 1947 when it was founded by Marine Reservist Major William L. Hendricks. Hendricks was inspired by his wife Diane when she tried to donate a homemade Raggedy Ann doll to a needy child but could find no organization to do so. At her suggestion, Hendricks gathered a group of local Marine Reservists who coordinated and collected some 5,000 toys. Their efforts were so successful that the following year, Toys for Tots was launched as a national campaign. And as of 2009, the Toys for Tots program and foundation has collected and distributed almost 500 million toys and become a bona fide custom of Christmas.
That Custom of Christmas was brought to you by First Federal of Greene County, inviting you to Customer Appreciation Day on Friday, December 19th, and reminding you they'll close at noon on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Happy holidays from everyone at First Federal of Greene County.
Your mental health is your most valuable asset. With 55 years of experience serving Western Pennsylvania, Chestnut Ridge Counseling Services is ready and able to assist you with all of your mental health needs. Offering over 20 specialized treatments, open access, and just-in-time scheduling means that you receive the treatment you need in a time-conscious fashion. Chestnut Ridge Counseling now offers telehealth, mental health urgent care with immediate access to a mental health professional with no appointment necessary. Call 724-437-0729. That's 724-437-0729 for mental health urgent care at Chestnut Ridge Counseling. Outpatient care options include individual, group, and family therapies, mental health and psychiatric evaluations, and medication services. Outpatient care and services are also available for patients under the age of 18, geared towards youth-centric problems and concerns. Take control of your mental health care with Chestnut Ridge Counseling Services. Call 724-437-0729 to set up an appointment or speak immediately with a mental health professional.
'Tis the season for Santa and his elves to begin packing up all those Christmas presents for delivery. At Chesler's Fine Furniture, they also offer delivery, and their elves are ready to pack up a sack full of great gifts for all those on your Christmas shopping list, offering fantastic selection and fantastic savings. Lazy Boy recliners starting at just $4.99. 5-piece all-wood dining sets, ideal for holiday entertaining, start at just $5.99. Chesler's offers sofa options perfect for your Christmas morning starting at just $4.99, and chairside tables starting at only $1.49. If you have someone with special needs on your holiday shopping list, lift recliners start at $7.99, and the incredible Joffrin transitional electric fireplace console oak TV stand is just $3.99, creating the perfect fireside setting for your Christmas memories. Credit terms and layaway are available. Chesler's Fine Furniture, Route 51 in Uniontown, where customers send their friends this holiday season and every day throughout the year.
Welcome back to the What's on Your Mind show on a pretty mild Wednesday. I'm Doug Sultan, going in for West Roads, 50 degrees right now outside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studio. CBS News coming up here in less than a minute, followed by local, regional, and statewide news, sports, and weather with TJ DeStefano. I want to thank TJ for helping out during the first hour of the show, which I had to do remotely on short notice. He pulled it off for me. Appreciate that very much. Bob Grove joined us a few moments ago talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins and their struggles of late, but no doubt TJ will report on that during his sports report. The Penguins have been sold. The Fenway Sports Group only kept them for less than 5 years now. The Hoffman Investment Group, a family investment group, has bought the team. It's an estimated for $1.5 to $1.7 billion, which gave the Fenway Sports Group about a $500 million profit after a 5-year owning the team. News is next on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. Again, I'm Doug Sullivan, filling in for us. Thanks for the opportunity. I'll be back on later today at 4 o'clock, after the 4 o'clock news, with the Afternoon Drive Show.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. The son of director Rob Reiner made his first court appearance today as he faces charges of first-degree murder in the killing of his parents. Reporter Amanda Starantino.
Was brief, but it was significant as well. It's the first time the public has seen Nick Reiner since the murders of his parents from over the weekend. And also, he did not enter a plea, and it's going to be pushed to January 7th to give prosecutors more time in what they're calling a very complex case.
The 32-year-old Reiner was wearing a jail suicide prevention smock. The Reiner's other 2 children have issued a statement. It says words cannot even begin to describe the unimaginable pain we are experiencing every moment of the day. They called their parents their best friends. Senate Democrats blasted FCC Chairman Brendan Carr today for pressuring broadcasters to remove Jimmy Kimmel from the air, among other things. Here with Senator Ed Markey.
He is turning the Federal Communications Commission into the Federal Censorship Commission. It's a betrayal of the FCC's mission. You should resign, Mr. Chairman. You are creating a chilling effect
Do you
on
regret
broadcast journalism.
Senator Markey, please.
Former Special Counsel Jack Smith appeared in a closed session with lawmakers to talk about his past investigations of the president. Stacey Lynn reports.
The House Judiciary Committee is probing Jack Smith's actions during his time as special counsel during the Biden administration. He led the investigation that resulted in the president being indicted on more than 40